Game 5 began as a mound duel between the two starting pitchers. Danny Cox was back on the mound for the Cardinals, and he seemed to have regained the form that had deserted him in Game 2. Bert Blyleven started for the Twins, and he was equally effective in the early innings. In the bottom of the third, the Cards threatened with men at second and third, but Jose Oquendo was thrown out at the plate. In the fifth, Oquendo was at third base again, but another Cardinal threat went by the boards when he was hung up by catcher Tim Laudner on an unsuccessful squeeze play, and the game remained scoreless. Finally, in the sixth, the vaunted Cardinal running game shifted into high gear. Vince Coleman, who had stolen 4 bases in the first 4 games, beat out an infield grounder to lead off the inning. And now the Cardinal fans would see the type of running game they love. With Coleman and Smith running wild on the bases, Curt Ford came up. And he hits that one into center field to score Coleman. Here comes Smith. The throw is going to third. He's safe there, 2-0. Is grounded to Gagne, who drops it, boots it, and 1 run scores to make it 3-0. Tom Kelly saw his team facing a 3rd straight loss that would put them perilously close to expiration. But the Twins weren't giving anything away just yet. In the 8th, singles by Dan Gladden and Greg Gagne drove Cox from the game. Going into the 8th, he had given up just 3 hits and no runs, and an appreciative crowd saluted him. Herzog then brought on left-hander Ken Daly to face Kent Hrbek. Hrbek had been having nothing but trouble with lefties, going 0 for his last 15 against them. Herzog's strategy paid off, as Hrbek could only manage a fly ball to center. Now Gaetti, now Herzog, now Worrell. With the right hand hitting Gary Gaetti at the plate, Herzog continued to play the percentages by bringing on right-hander Todd Worrell. To center field and deep, very deep. McGee goes all the way back, leaps and has it. And then it comes out of his glove, so it's in play, and Gaetti winds up at third. It looked like Woody was going to be able to come up with the ball, and all of a sudden it came loose. 2 runs were in, and the Cardinal lead was cut in half, but no further runs would score as Tom Brunansky flied to center, stranding Gaetti at third. Down 2 runs heading into the 9th, the Twins might have wished that they, like Dorothy from Oz, could escape from the broom and go home. Sweep is the chant we heard in Minnesota the other night, and we're hearing it now in St. Louis. And this series has been a home sweep so far. But the Twins still weren't admitting defeat. With 2 out in the top of the 9th, Don Baylor came to the plate to face Todd Worrell. With a man on base, all it would take was 1 swing of the bat from Baylor to tie the game. Fly ball, shallow right. Herr goes out, and in this World Series, there is absolutely no place like home. Worrell picked up his 2nd save. And once again, like magic, another hero emerged from the Cardinal lineup to carry the banner. Tonight, it was Curt Ford.
I was very much displeased with my first 2 at-bats. I felt like I got cheated, and I didn't really have a good swing in either time. So, I just told myself, make sure you don't get cheated and make sure you get a good pitch that you can handle. And I was, like I said earlier, I was very much surprised to see him throw as many fastballs as he did in that situation. I thought maybe if I was going to beat him, that I would have to beat him with its best pitch, which is his curveball.
There has been no place like home in the 1987 World Series. Whitey Herzog's Cardinals are now just one game shy of a world title with Thursday's Game 5 victory. Danny Cox shut down the Twins, allowing just 5 hits. And Ozzie Smith just kept doing what he's done for 10 years. While Tony Pena, like everyone else, still marbles. But it was Kurt Ford's 6th-inning single that gave the Cardinals the lead and made the 27-year-old outfielder the series' latest unlikely hero. Todd Worrell came on to save the 4-2 win and send his team into Game 6, ahead in the series. Today from Minneapolis, the World Series moves on. ABC Sports presents the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals against the American League champion Minnesota Twins in Game 6 of the 1987 World Series. And welcome to the first day game in the World Series since 1984. And it's a good day to be inside, because were we outside today, the temperature would be 41 degrees for the most comfortable 70 degrees inside the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome before a full house, and a house that, as we all know by now, roars like none other. Game 6 of the 1987 World Series. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Minneapolis, and it's very simple right now. The St. Louis Cardinals would love to be home tonight. They can pop the champagne corks here, have a very pleasant flight home, and a nice celebration at the airport if they win and they send John Tudor to the mound. The Cardinals are seeking their first World Championship since 1982 when they beat Milwaukee in the World Series. The Minnesota Twins have never won a world title. They lost to the Dodgers in 1965 in the series, the only franchise World Series championship when they were back in Washington in 1924. And what the Twins have to do, of course, is to win 2. And during postseason play, they are 4-0 in the Metrodome. So it's that simple as we get set for Game 6 of the World Series from Minneapolis. We'll be back. The World Series is a stage like no other. It's accentuated the careers of people like Babe Ruth and Yogi Berra and Reggie Jackson, but also a lot of unlikely heroes have emerged, and this World Series is no exception. When Twins catcher Tim Laudner homered in Game 2 Sunday night and added a run-scoring single and helped his club take a 2-0 edge in the series, it made some of us think back to a then light-hitting catcher in the 70s, Gene Tennis of the Oakland A's, who homered 4 times in the 1972 series. Then in Game 4 Wednesday night, the improbable happened. Twins pitching ace Frank Viola facing the Cardinals' little-used infielder Tom Lawless with 2 on and none out in a 1-1 game, served up a pitch that led to a 6-run Cardinal uprising. Was it shades of Al Weiss, who had hit .215 with 2 homers during the regular season, taking the Orioles' Dave McNally deep in Game 5 in the Mets' miracle year of 1969. These unknown heroes are an integral part of World Series legend. Certainly Roy Campanella could not have imagined Don Larson pitching a perfect game against his Dodgers in 1956.
Yes, gee, I can recall 1956 World Series when Don Larson pitched a perfect game, and I was next to the last out, and I was saying to myself, I'm going to try to hit this pitch to right field, but I wasn't as fortunate to do so, and I hit the ball to Jerry Coleman at second base for the second out.
And Cleveland's Al Rosen never could have expected that pinch hitter Dusty Rhodes would hit the game-winning homer for the New York Giants in the 10th inning of Game 1 back in 1954.
But most of all, it was Dusty Rhodes and the pinch hit home run that was 265 feet 6 inches, I guess. Bobby Avila going back and bouncing off the wall, trying to catch the ball, our second baseman. It was just Dusty Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes.
The 1927 Yankees were the Yankees of Ruth and Gehrig, and after being called the GOAT of the 26 series for his four-era performance, Bart Koenig could only dream that he would be such a big contributor to the title for the 27 Yanks.
Well, I think about the first World Series, 26, that I was the GOAT. I booted an easy double play ball, and we lost the ball game 4-3. We never should have lost the game. And then in 1927, I kind of redeemed myself. I had quite a good series. I had 9 hits out of 18 times up. And, the Wayner boys, they said that Koenig ruined us.
In the 1987 World Series, 5 games down, 1 or 2 games to go, and like any World Series, a lot of sights and sounds that we'll remember for quite a while. Let's have a look back at the last week.
Now nothing's impossible, I have found, for when my chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, dust myself off, and start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip and to pick yourself up, dust off, start over again. Work like a soul inspired until the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man, my son. Will you remember the famous men who had to fall to rise again? So take a deep breath, pick yourself up, start all over again. You gotta work like a soul inspired until the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man, my son. Will you remember the famous men who had to fall and then to rise again? So take a deep breath, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. That's enough now.
World Series Game 6 coming up shortly. Right now, let's join the PA announcer at the Metrodome, Bob Casey.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored today to have the Joint Service Color Guard representing the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force. Now, during the past 3 weeks, baseball fans around the world have heard the highly bookable Metropolitan and Metrodome support for the Minnesota Twins from the Twin Cities in the upper Midwest. Our national anthem singers today will be accompanied by organist Ronnie Newman. And with us today to conduct these singers is the assistant conductor of the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, Mr. Joel Revson. And to sing our national anthem today, Major League Baseball and the Minnesota Twins invite you, the fans here in the Metrodome, to honor America with the Star Spangled Banner.
We'll return to the 1987 World Series after this message from Major League Baseball and a word from your local station. Here comes the throw to the plate. Changes tag is not in time. McGee hits one deep to right and down the line into the corner and off the wall. McGee has a double.
ABC Sports and Major League Baseball present the official 1987 World Series highlight video cassette. All the dramatic moments, exclusive interviews, and special camera coverage. Send $19.98 by check, pay $3 for postage and handling, or use Visa or MasterCard. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. The preceding announcement was furnished by Major League Baseball.
They are roaring already. The chant begins. Let's go Twins. Let's go Twins. Under the dome, 41 degrees outside, 70 and very noisy inside. And welcome to Game 6 of the World Series. Al Michaels with you, and obviously the St. Louis Cardinals would love to be on a plane going home. They won the 3 games at Busch, but the Twins have won the first 2 games of the series here, and today and tomorrow, of course, would be held here. No team in the history of the World Series has won all the home games. There have been situations where teams have won the home games through the first 6, but never all the way. That's what the Twins will try to accomplish here for a world title. Let me turn now to Tim McCarver, and let's talk about the home field advantage, which is obviously something that can be proved statistically. But how much of a home field advantage is this for the Minnesota Twins?
Well, I'll tell you, Al, I can't really think of a team since the 1961 Yankees who have more of a home field advantage than the Minnesota Twins. They are 60-25 this year at the Metrodome. The one problem today is the matchup. They have Les Straker going against John Tudor, and consider Les Straker. He was 8-10 on the regular season. However, he did pitch very, very well against the Cardinals. The one thing to remember today is, I think, Al, that the Minnesota Twins are going to be playing this game today. Even though it's Game 6, they'll be playing it like it's Game 7, because after all, if they lose this ball game, they will be going home and have a long winter, and for that reason, I think Les Straker, if he's in trouble, will be removed early.
Might even see Reardon a little bit earlier, because as you say, if they don't win today, there is no tomorrow. Let me turn to Jim Palmer now. Let's talk about the fact the first 2 games, the Twins did what they've done so well, successfully all season long, hit with power. Cardinals did their thing at home with speed. Now, do you necessarily feel the Twins would have the upper hand, the major advantage over these next 2 games, if there are 2 games?
Well, you never have a major advantage if you have to face John Tudor, but if you go back to the playoffs, they faced 2 guys from the Tigers, talking about the Twins here in Minneapolis. Doyle Alexander came in 9-0 in his last 11 starts. They beat him, and then Jack Morris had not lost in the Metrodome 8 times in a row, and yet they beat him. But the interesting thing to me about this World Series is, in the first 2 games, which were blowouts, 10-1 and 8-4, you never really heard much about the Cardinals' speed. Then they go to St. Louis, and what happens is they steal 8 bases, a 3-run inning, a 6-run inning, and another 3-run inning, and they come here leading.
So we are all set now for Game 6 of the 1987 World Series. Tudor and Straker at the Dome. The Homer Hankies out in force, saluting the Minnesota Twins as they just took the field. And the lineup for the Cardinals, Coleman leading off. He came to the park with the flu. Smith bats second. Tommy Herr hitting third in the Cardinal lineup, with Dreesen, the cleanup batter, and then the switch hitting Willie McGee. Terry Pendleton is in the lineup today. He is the DH. Again, the DH in effect in the American League Park. Ford, Game 5 hero, bats 7th. Okendo, who moves around, plays 3rd. And Tony Pena bats 9th in the lineup, with Tudor the pitcher. Now for Minnesota defensively, the outfield is Gladden, Puckett, and Brunansky. The infield, as usual, Gaetti, Gagne, Lombardozzi, and Herbeck. Tim Laudner is back of the plate, and Les Straker on the mound, who pitched very well the other night. And once again, let's get the inside pitch on Straker from the Milwaukee Brewers, Paul Molitor.
The important factor for Les Straker being effective is getting through those first few innings. He has a tendency early in the ball game to give up big innings. Now what happens is he'll get a few runners on base and get a little bit flustered. Now as a hitter, the advantage will swing in your direction. If you can just be patient in these situations, eventually he's going to give you a good pitch to hit in these run-scoring situations.
And the other night he pitched brilliantly, and Kelly will take that right to the bank. If you could tell Tom right now, and Reggie asked him the other night after the game, if he gets 6 innings, are you going to yank him again? And Tom said, absolutely.
And Paul Molitor said that he gets flustered in the early innings. Well, the other night he didn't have a chance to get flustered because Cardinal runners weren't on. But if they get on, if anybody can fluster you, the Cards can.
Well, especially the guy with the flu that can fly. And and we're talking about Coleman. He has 6 stolen bases. And as we said in the opening, the difference between this series is who has been able to get on in which ballpark. They weren't able to do it here. A lot of runs, and it doesn't matter.
Terry Tata of the National League is the plate umpire along with the rest of the crew. If we went to a 7th game, it would mean Dave Phillips, the first base umpire, who was the plate umpire in Game 1, would call him tomorrow. And Vince Coleman to lead things off. Coleman, Smith, and Herr.
Something happened just then that I have never seen. Vince Coleman came out and had the home plate umpire Terry Tata check the ball. I mean, for what reason? The ball hasn't been in play yet.
Well, I'll tell you what reason. A lot of times some umpires rub the ball more than others, and they all put the river mud on it, and some are much darker. So if you're a leadoff hitter, you want to know if it's too dark.
Crescendo builds for the first pitch of the game, and it's outside. And again, Coleman not feeling well, coming to the park and dragging. And so obviously a touch of the flu or under the weather, but still in the lineup in Game 6. Smith and Herr to follow. Takes a strike.
And speaking of dragging, a very good bunter. 44 infield hits, 14 bunts. You can see Gary Gaetti playing well in front of the bag at third, and that's what you have to do. He's still going to bunt because if he bunts it to the right side, you can see how deep Lombardozzi is playing. He can beat the pitcher to the bag.
1 and 2. The crowd has picked right up where they left off last Sunday. I mean, they are in 9th inning form in the first inning.
Some of them, as a matter of fact, came out here, if you remember the other night, 29,000 strong. They paid $1 to get in. The money went to charity and made themselves a ball.
Well, this is the pitch that Whitey Herzog said is better than a major league average fastball. It was about 90 miles per hour in St. Louis. It looks even quicker here in the Dome where the hitters say they don't pick up the ball as well.
So Coleman gone. Ozzie Smith 5 for 20 in the series. Smith 303 during the regular season, and once again a much better left-handed hitter. He batted .335 left-handed. To center field. Herbie Puckett is right there. 2 gone. He's going to face his empty, and Tommy Herr is the hitter.
Excuse me, Al, he's going to face 8 left-handed hitters. And the interesting thing is the stats are much better against right-handers. Right-handers gives up a home run once every 19 times at bat, but again, once every 35, but a left-hander's a little bit, I guess, more difficult for him to get out, even though he has a pretty good breaking ball and a good changeup. 1 home run every 19 times up.
Tommy Herr has really struggled in the postseason. This one and gone. And so that stills the crowd in a big hurry. Tommy Herr. And had he been in a crowd, it had been a long time since Herr had driven in a run in a World Series game.
Only his 3rd home run of the year.
And you have to go back to 1982. Herr in the series in 82 and also in 85.
Look on a slider, threw a fastball by him, and then he does speed up his bat when he gets a slider in the middle of the plate.
Strike to Andreessen. Another look here. Herr, who did not drive in a run in the 85 series and had not driven in one in 87. That's hit down to Herbeck, who shovels to Straker. Cardinals it done. Kerr hits a homer. Cards one. Twins coming up. So the Twins. Gladden leading off, and then Gagne bats second. Kirby Puckett in the 3 spot. He's looking to get hot. Gary Gaetti has 6 hits in the 6 games. The DH today is Don Baylor batting 5th. And Tom Brunansky looking to get hot, as is Ken Herbeck, who sees yet another lefty. The number 8 hitter is the catcher, Tim Laudner. And hitting 9th in the order is Steve Lombardozzi. And they'll be facing John Tudor, the winner in Game 3. And let's get the inside pitch on John from the San Diego Padres, Tony Gwynn, the National League batting champion.
John Tudor's real deliberate, so it appears that he's overpowering, but I think it's his windup that really lulls you to sleep. He's got great composure on the mound. Nothing ever rattles him. And when he's on, he's really tough to hit. You can't go up there and sit on one pitch. You've got to go up there and just try to get your bat on the ball. But if he doesn't have his good stuff, then he has a tendency to be wild high. But I think the reason why he's been so effective is the development of his changeup.
Defensively, Coleman, McGee, and Ford in right. The infield of Oquendo at third, then Smith, Purr, and Dreesen. Tony Pena does the catching for St. Louis. And John Tudor trying to clinch a championship. He leads 1-0 on a home run by Tommy Herr. And Dan Gladden, who is the only player to get a hit in all 5 World Series games thus far. Gladden to lead off, and Gagne and Puckett. It was Dan who started the World Series with the Grand Slam home run in Game 1 on Saturday night. And there's Les Straker, who set down the first 2, got a hit on Tommy Herr, and the next thing you know, it's in the upper deck. The reaction of Straker as Herr's shot left the park.
It's not the first time a pitcher will close his eyes after a home run.
That's grounded by Danny Dreesen. It's a fair ball, and into the corner. Gladden has at least 2, and Ford has trouble, so Gladden is on his way to third, and he's in there.
Already, we may see a different approach by the right-handed hitters of the Twins. Tudor going inside the Gladden, and Danny just fights it off. And you'll notice he does not pick up the third base coach. A base runner really doesn't need the third base coach that much. That's one instance that a runner may need the third base coach, but Gladden really uses his own. You see, he doesn't pick him up. He makes up his mind once he gets to second that he's going to third. Good play.
Cardinal infield with Smith and Herr back. Only Oquendo is up at third with nobody out. Gagne takes outside, ball 1.
Especially when you're leading 3 games to 2.
2-2 pitch is a one-hopper to Herr, and he looks Gladden back and throws him out. Gladden was sort of frozen when the ball left the bat with the infield back. Gladden had to hesitate, and then by the time he decided he might come home, it was too late.
That's because of the perception of looking at Tommy Herr, the ball hit right at him. You're reminded if you're the runner at third and less than 2 out to watch the line drive. That was a line drive fielded on 1 hop. You can certainly understand the plight of Dan Gladden on that particular play.
It's the kind of play where if he hits a 2-hopper, he comes home.
Right.
So despite the infield playing back, the ball hit on a line far enough that Gladden was frozen. And the Cardinals get pretty much a gift out in this situation without yielding the run. Puckett the batter.
All they've been doing to Kirby is pound him in. He's expanded the strike zone, has not really hit too many strikes, and he feels he can hit that pitch, but hasn't been able to do it.
That's grounded into left field to tie the game.
The reason they've been pitching him inside is because of the 28 home runs. They feel they can tie him up. That time you
Good speed at first. Change low, 1-0.
Same thing holds truth in game 3 as you take a look at Danny Gladden. Watch Tony Pena, the catcher. If Tudor is on today, he will be throwing the ball where Pena moves to. If he's not, he's going to be in trouble.
A little squibber toward third. O'Kendall charges, throws on the run. Got him. Down to second goes Puckett. 2 down on a bang-bang play at first base, and Don Baylor coming up.
What makes this play so difficult is where you're playing it. The throw across from your body, but also he's playing well behind third base, and you can see it's very close. Nice pickup by Danny Dreesen.
O'Kendall admittedly the other day said that it's tougher to play third base than it is shortstop. A lot of people would think the other way, but because he's so used to playing shortstop, he told me that he really didn't have enough time to position himself at third base.
Don Baylor takes a strike, 0-1.
I guess it could be said that you have to be quicker as a third baseman, but more wide-ranging as a shortstop.
Kendall off the line at third, back of the bag for Baylor. Played in the World Series last year as well with Boston. 1-1. Postseason games with the DH in use, those would be the playoff games, and the 2 here, 7.4 a game. But in the 3 games without those 3 in St. Louis, 1.7. And down goes Bernansky on a pitch on the inside corner. So the Twins get a fair lead, 2-1 after 1.
Take a look at the go-ahead single by Don Baylor. Watch Pena way inside. Look where the ball is. Out over the plate. He misses literally by about 2.5 feet. Tudor cannot do that and be successful.
Really a fine point, Jim, because you could see Pena go all the way from inside off the plate to outside off the plate.
Yeah, this is 3 days rest for Tudor. A lot of people feel that would be beneficial to him in a way because he's a control pitcher. Does not have his control as of yet.
So the Cardinals with Smith and Tudor and Vince Coleman. Ozzie talking about hitting and Tudor talking about thinking about the bottom of the first inning. Out of the second. Leading things off is McGee, who will be followed by Pendleton and Ford. Funny, McGee having a good series, but fanning a lot.
Well, Kurt Weiler and the curveball will do it to him, but really with such extremes. And here's a guy that I would call a contact hitter. Doesn't really try to pull the ball. Only 11 home runs on the year.
Outside high fastball.
Shot toward the middle. Lombardozzi is there to make a nice play and get him. Lombardozzi was over toward the middle and able to make a strong throw to nail McGee. Good God.
Right exactly where he should, up the middle. You see him really not going that far is right, but he does know that McGee can run, plants, and fires. He's played an outstanding second base throughout this World Series. Again, defensing the hitter properly is the key to this play.
So one down, and Pendleton is the batter. Terry, the DH, and again, Pendleton injured himself in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. Rib muscle. He can bat left-handed. He could not earlier in the series play third. He still can't bat right-handed, but Herzog can use him. He said now a couple of innings in the field if necessary. He can play third, at least for a little while. 2-0. Straker allowed 2 walks in 6 innings in Game 3. And 4 hits. Kurt Ford now, who had the hit to break a scoreless tie in the 6th inning on Thursday. It's sharply to Lombardozzi, who was able to keep it in front of him and throw him out to save 1 out. Lombardozzi making sure he got 4 as Pendleton goes to second, so 2 down, and Oquendo is the batter.
Well, hit hard, but again, Lombardozzi showing good range. This is the ball he is thinking of getting the lead runner. Once he knocks it down, he knows he has no choice but at first base. That's one of those emotional things. You know you want to get the lead runner. Once you don't come up with it cleanly, you better get the sure out.
Now Oquendo with a man at second. 2 down inside. Here's one difference between the DH and no DH. If this was in St. Louis, you have the 8th hitter with first base open, Oquendo, the pitcher coming up, and now you got the number 8 hitter and Pena on the goal of the story. And Oquendo and Pena have both done some damage during the series.
Oquendo has never seen snowfall. And early this morning, he was up very early in an attempt. He heard it was going to flurry, and he was up early wanting to see his first snowfall. And the weatherman didn't oblige. Here we are playing indoors, and it may be snowing outside.
Temperature this morning was in the low 30s. It was 41 outside at game time. 3-1.
Oquendo's bat has secret weapon on it. It's a special model made up by Louisville Slugger. They sent him 3 with secret weapon on it. Gotta love it.
3-1. Have a look so you can read it. There it is. Secret weapon.
I'm not too sure that weapon's secret anymore. No, he's used it too much. So is Whitey Herzog.
3-2, 2 down. 2-1, Minnesota in the second. Runner goes, and it's hit into right field for a base hit. Pendleton was running, and he scores, and the game is tied. So Pendleton figuring he had third base stolen. Otherwise, in that situation, you'd be crazy to go with 2 out. He just figured they were giving it to him, he would take it, and he also has that rib muscle twist, and then he thought he would take extra advantage of giving him that much room.
You know what he may be proving? He may be proving to Whitey Herzog that if the defensive switch is necessary, he can indeed throw. I mean, that's one of the biggest surprises of the series, having Terry Pendleton trying to steal third base in a situation that's not a good stolen base situation.
2 out, 2 strikes.
Well, he told Whitey in the training room that he couldn't hit right-handed, but he could field. I don't know if Whitey believed him, but with that kind of jump, he's going to score easily. I think that the pitching coach, Dick Such, went out to talk to Les Straker. He threw Oquendo 3 straight changeups. Now, we saw that once before with the bases loaded. Danny Cox 3 straight changeups to Randy Bush, and the result of double down the right field line. Maybe they want to change the pitching sequence.
So the game tied 2-2 with Oquendo at first base, 2 down, and Tony Pena at the plate. There goes Oquendo, and it's driven to center field and right at today, I asked him what he expects to see from John this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure he's going to throw some curveballs. He likes throwing a lot of curveballs to left-handed hitters, and I know he'll throw a few in there. But you can't sit and look at the curveball because he's sneaking there with the fastball, which he did to me over at their place. But I'm looking for fastballs to hit, and if I can sit back and keep my weight back, I can react to a curveball and you know, hopefully slap it the other way or something.
Ken Herbeck, who struggled through the playoffs and through the series, he's 4 for 17 now. The number 7 hitter starts him with a curve, does 2 to ball 1.
That's what John said his biggest problem is that he faces 9 right-handers, or excuse me, 8 right-handers, 1 lefty. He said sometimes he has trouble with his control, and the only person he throws curveballs to are left-handers. So he'd like to see a few more in there. It makes his job a little bit easier. You can see that Kent does not hit left-handers very well.
Half swing fastball in the count 2-1.
Nor the fastball up. He is a low ball hitter, 34 home runs, 285, one of his best years ever.
That's because Kent's an ex-hockey player. I would imagine that hockey players with that type of swing would be more inclined to hit the ball down. Richie Hebner, another. John Tudor, also a hockey player.
That's right.
After the 1985 series, as a matter of fact, John Tudor, they were doing a story on him, Sports Illustrated, and he suited up and skated with the St. Louis Blues hockey team.
We'll never know about Kirk McCaskill because he plays in the league with the DH.
Right.
But he was the best of the baseball playing hockey players. High drive to right field. Ward going back, looking up into the ceiling with McGee, and Woody drops the ball. Picked up by Ward, and Herbeck stops at second. And had Herbeck been going all out, he would have wound up at third. But he knew it wasn't going out, and he went into a trot.
Right. Well, we talked about in game 1 and 2, you can't see the ball sometimes coming off the bat. Right here, McGee knows that Ford doesn't see the ball. He's calling for it. Look at his eyes. You think he sees it? I don't think McGee did. And what they say is that you can't see it. You can't look at the other outfielder because if you do, you lose the ball and you can't pick it up. And it looked like it was evident there.
I'll tell you, that play affected 2 senses, sight and hearing.
It's a very important point because the Cardinals were saying the biggest problem is hearing the other guy. So Herbeck at second will get the scoring. Lander takes low, ball 1 to go. It is an error charged to Willie McGee. Pickoff play, nail him. Oh boy. You talk about wasting an opportunity. Herbeck at second instead of third, and then he gets picked off.
And that is one reason why he may have gotten a bigger lead. He knows he should have been a third. Does not run that well. He's put on a little bit of weight over the last couple of years trying to get a bigger jump. And the second baseman, Tommy Hers, his job is to try to put pickoff plays on to keep him closer. In this case, they pick him off. Nowhere to go with nobody out.
Yeah, with 2 outs, that's exactly right, Jim. With 2 outs, you could understand that pickoff play. Not with nobody out, because you can advance to third on an infield out or a long fly ball.
There's a little squibber. Tudor has it and throws him out. And that's out number 2. 2 out, bases empty in the bottom of the second inning. A 2-2 tie. And Steve Lombardozzi comes up. Rourke and Herzog. And Tom Kelly. With Laudner sitting down next to him.
One thing on fly balls, one thing Willie McGee said, the really unusual thing is that normally you can see the ball go up, you can look around where everybody is, the infielders, your fellow outfielders, but you can't do it here. And that's the one thing you can't get used to. You get used to the ball off the bat, you get used to the ball coming down, but it's just so contrary to what you do as a normal outfielder. I think it's one of the big reasons it's so difficult to play the outfield, especially for a visiting outfielder.
That's wrapped in the right center for a base hit. And what's Herbeck thinking on the bench right now? Two-out single, and Gladden comes up. He tripled in the first. In
not sitting here trying to indict Ken Herbeck, but he did make 2 base running mistakes. Did hustle, then gets picked off. But the key to beating the Cardinals is to get way ahead. 1 run, they have the favorite. They're definitely favorites.
Gladden tries to bunt his way on, and it's a foul ball.
They have showed demonstrably over the last 3 games that anytime they want to run, they can run. And we saw in 10-1, 8-4, they're not going to run. And if they do, it doesn't really make any difference. So every run is valuable.
And Gladden strokes one toward the middle by even Ozzie Smith. Couldn't get that one. And around the third goes Lombardozzi.
John Tudor. He tripled his first at bat going the other way, and you could really see that front shoulder with that swing. Change up away, that's the only way you can hit that pitch, is keeping that front shoulder in there. The ball appeared to go under Ozzie's glove. If he comes up with that, I don't believe he has a play on it anyway. Yeah.
Gagne grounded out in the first inning. And he grounds one down to Smith, and they get the force. And so the Twins really waste an opportunity in the second. 2-2 as we go to the third, back after this from your local station.
Now you can enjoy all the memories of the 1987 World Series with a copy of the official World Series program. With more than 90 pages of facts and figures, it's a real collector's item. To order your souvenir program, just send check or money order for $6 to World Series Program, Post Office Box 87, Trenton, New Jersey 08651. That's Box 87, Trenton, New Jersey 08651. Please include your proper return address.
The preceding was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Third inning, Coleman, Smith, and Herr coming up. Coleman struck out in the first. So Les Straker, who gave Kelly 6 good innings the other night, has been touched for a run tonight or today in each of the first 2. And he starts with Coleman here in the third. 0-1 on Vince, who we told you before came to the park with a touch of the flu today. 1-2 to him. It's slowly to Lombardozzi, has to hurry, and gets it. Smith coming to the plate. Reggie Jackson interviewed Kelly the other night. He asked him, what would you do if Straker gives you another 6? He said, he's coming out. Another look here at the play by Lombardozzi. And of course, it's Kelly who knows his glove, and Dick Such, the pitching coach.
Well, he averaged about 5 1/3 innings on the year. He gives them 6 shutout innings. You have your bullpen. Berenger 8-1, Reardon with 31 saves, and they all second-guess the move. Incredible.
Well, you see some interesting figures that we have. 2-0 the count about Straker. There he is in the regular year, innings 1 through 6. Look at it on the far right. In addition to the ERA, 2.42 the opponents hit. From the 7th on, they hit 4.20.
Only 52 at bats because he didn't go that far into the 7th, but still revealing enough to show how he weakens after the 7th inning. And Tom Kelly said clearly it was mental as far as he was concerned.
2-0 pitch is hit in the air to right field and deep, and back goes Bernansky and makes the catch. And Ozzie, that's a real hope. He did not homer this season.
And has only 1 home run left-handed in his major league career. That was in the 1985 championship series against the Dodgers off Tom Niedenfuhrer to win a ball game. Game 5 in St. Louis after over 3,100 at-bats without a home run from the left side.
Here's Tommy Herr now in the first inning. Tommy with 2 out, drilled one into the upper deck. And that got the Cardinals off and running, made it 1-0. Twins got 2 in the bottom of the first, Cardinals tied out in the second.
You get an idea why it's so difficult to pitch here? In Busch Stadium, you would literally have come in on Ozzie Smith's ball. This is the kind of park where the pitching coach will tell you, get ahead, change speeds, and use all your pitches. And that's what Straker did to her. The slider got in the middle of the plate and he jerked it. Busch Stadium, you could throw Tommy Heuer fastballs away. It's such a big ballpark that you know he might get his hits, but he's not going to hurt you with a home run. Here, you change speeds a little bit more, you're more susceptible to long balls.
Got him. Cards 2, Twins 2. Yesterday at the airport, we took a decibel meter out there, and within 100 feet of the runway, it registered 102 decibels. That was yesterday at Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. And here is a live decibel meter inside the Metrodome. And the crowd not really doing very much right now, only in the 90s on the D meter. But they'll get it up there.
Don't tell them about it.
Yeah. Bottom of the third inning, Kirby Puckett to lead off. Game tie 2-2. And Puckett spins it foul off the end of the bat of the county's own wall.
I'll tell you, Al, they have indoor track records. Maybe they should have indoor home run records. A major league record with 21 indoor home runs this season. And he didn't hit them all here. He had 18 here, 3 in the Kingdome in Seattle. Kirby Puckett led the Twins. King Herbeck led the Twins with home runs in this ballpark with 20. New indoor record.
Puckett fouls it away. And in a couple of years, you'll have the hybrid ballpark in Toronto, because they'll have the retractable roof where you'll be able to hit them both inside and out, depending on the weather.
Montreal also.
Well, Montreal totally, yeah, inside right now, completely enclosed, and Houston, of course, with the non-retractable roof. Line to center field, base hit. Puckett is 2-2.
Well, the book on him is it doesn't matter if it's a striker or ball when he's hot. You can see the decibel meter. So all it takes is a couple of hits by Kirby. Take another look at where this ball is. Again, inside, but up. And when Kirby's hot, doesn't matter if it's off the plate. You do limit the home run when he gets the base hit.
All good hitters get jammed because all good hitters go into the ball. It's tough to jam a poor hitter.
Gaetti now. Puckett, who had 12 steals during the regular season, held on by Andreessen. Gaetti, the MVP of the American League Championship Series. Takes away 1-0.
What a variety of pitches that he's hit. We saw him hit the hanging slider for a home run. Here we saw the triple that McGee made a great effort on a fastball 97 miles per hour from Todd Burrell, hit it 414 feet. The only pitch he has not really consistently hit in the series is the ball down in the strike zone, and that's where Tudor liked to be.
In the air to deep right field, and Ford goes back and has room and makes the catch at the edge of the warning track as Puckett retreats. So one long out, one gone in the third inning, and Don Baylor comes to the plate. He singled in the first.
I'll tell you, the impressive thing about this Twins lineup is how they've approached Tudor the second time around. Gladden with the triple down the right field line. Only Puckett, of all the hits, they have 6 hits, only Puckett has pulled the ball. Everybody else has gone the other way, including Baylor, his first at bat.
Pops it up. Pena having trouble with it. Tony coming back and makes the catch.
Well, he did not see that ball when it went off the bat. Somehow, he saw it on the way down and made the out.
I think he even lost it partially on the way down. He kind of gave a shrug there, Jim.
I think that's one of the strangest reactions I've ever seen.
Well, it's a little late. I believe he sees it right now, but a little bit earlier, he's just looking, knew it was behind him, but didn't know where.
I think he may have lost it twice.
Yeah.
Going up and somewhere when it comes down. Let's look at it one more time.
Right
now
there, he doesn't. There he sees it.
Now watch this.
Yeah, it's like he loses it again. Sure.
Yeah. It's almost a shrug.
Yeah. Great shot.
It's terrific.
2 down. And Puckett goes. He gets a big break, and there's no throw. Uncontested steal.
Well, that's what we were talking about. A lot of times you'll run on a left-hander's first move. Now, if he goes immediately, see, he just goes on the move. And Tudor's picked off 11 runners last year, 5 this year, so he has a good move, but he chose to really go to home plate. Puckett took a gamble, and it worked out.
Brunansky with a count 1-0, and first base open. And John can figure who would rather work to here. Brunansky, the right-handed batter, and he's got Herbeck, the left-hand batter, on deck.
And Herbeck is 0 for 14 against left-handers in postseason play, and hit .225 against them this year. I'm a little surprised they're pitching to Brunansky here.
Well, they're just barely pitching to him.
They may walk him now.
Yeah, 3-0. Tudor with only 2 2/3 innings gone. Already a gross.
Well, this is something with a veteran pitcher, you know he'll pitch around him. If it's a rookie, Niedenfuhr with first base open with Clark up in the 85.
Wanted to see if you were listening. 100 shy of a gross. And outside, ball 4. Had he thrown a gross, he'd have been back in the clubhouse.
Well, again, this is a situation where he's trying to make a perfect pitch. I don't really think he wants to pitch to him, and it's obvious. He misses by, what, 2 feet after missing by 3 feet? The only problem with this, if Herbeck, and over the year, as Timmy said, did not hit that well average-wise at the 34 home runs, only 6 against left-handed hitters. But if you make a mistake, it's 5-2.
2 on, 2 out, 2-2 tie, bottom of the 3rd inning. Herbeck, 1-0.
There are mistakes that are made with the wrong approach. There are mistakes that are made with the right approach. If you take the right approach enough, and Whitey Herzog does that, you'll make fewer mistakes.
2-0 on Herbeck.
I do agree with you wholeheartedly over 162 games, but I'll tell you what, tell Tudor that if he hangs a curveball or a fastball here and Herbeck hits it in the upper deck.
Well, you can't have that built in, though. If you got something like that built in, then you're really going to make a mistake. You got to go at it with full conviction, and that's what Herzog and really Tudor does the same thing.
3-0. Not only is Tudor throwing a lot of pitches, but remember, he's pitching on 3 days rest.
Again, the checkpoint on John Tudor is glove to the knee, and he's there, but again, you got to understand who's up. 34 home runs. Crowd gets louder.
55,000.
3-0. Herbeck coming up. Strike.
A curveball, 3-0. I don't believe it. You talk about having confidence in your curveball after 7 straight balls.
Bob Forsch in the Cardinal bullpen. Game tie, 2-2, 2 out, 2 on, and 3-1 on Herbeck. High fly ball to left center field, and Tudor's going to work out of it if Coleman can keep his eye on it, and he does. No runs a hit. They leave 2 to the 4th. We go a 2-2 tie.
Seems like the Yankees are always playing from behind in this series. Uh-oh. That is tagged. That is gone. Man, that ball jumped out of here. How easy he made that look. Dan Dreesen.
Can't help but comment. You saw tremendous power, and yet his last time at bat, he beat out an infield hit. It's a tough combination to beat. That youngster, and that's what he is, just hasn't had much of a chance to play, but he's got a lot of tools.
Dave Phillips, the first base umpire, we understand, has confirmed that the ball that Pena caught hit that speaker on the way down. Remember how odd the reaction was with Pena? It must have grazed the speaker, and it grazed it to the point where it probably did not affect very much the trajectory of the ball as Dreesen drills one to right field, and Brunansky will have to play it off the canvas. His throw into second is offline. A double for Dreesen to start the fourth inning.
A very similar pitch that Tommy Herr hit for a home run. It's a high slider. Dreesen to double off the hefty bags in the second game, does it again. And the only thing left is Brunansky playing it so well off the fence, something he's done all year. Strong throw to second, but Dreesen in easily. See Lombardozzi, the cutoff man, getting out of the way. Not a good pitch, but I believe Timmy 1-0. He thought it might fool him, and it didn't.
Willie McGee now, who grounded out in the second inning. First time the Cards have had the leadoff man on, and McGee fouls it away, 0-1. The ruling, by the way, on a ball such as that is that if it hits the speaker, it is in play. And remember Pena's reaction after he had caught the ball. Huh. Yeah, how about that? I stayed with it.
Of course, it doesn't take much to get him to smile.
No, you're right. And that's drilled into center field for a base hit. Dreesen, after hesitating, is being held at third. And down to second as the throw goes over the head of the cutoff man, Gaetti, goes McGee. Dreesen on a line shot through the middle was hesitating, and that cost him any chance to score. And then when Puckett misses Gaetti, it allows McGee to go to second. Second and third, and nobody out.
I can understand Dreesen right there. You're watching the line drive, the shortstop's behind you. There's nobody out, no hurry to go home. But really a hurry as far as Kirby Puckett's concerned to hit the cutoff man, and he fails to do that. Willie McGee, very alert base running.
And you talk about a hurry. It is Juan Berenguer going to the bullpen for Minnesota, and he will get some company as well in the person of Dan Schatzeder. This is it for the Twins. There is no tomorrow. So they'll go to the pen early, if needed. Pendleton swinging at a change, 0-1.
What's so surprising about that play by Kirby Puckett is you don't see it during the regular season. Nobody out, balls hit hard. You know that Dreesen, you don't assume that Dreesen's going to stop at third, but you just come up, hit off the cutoff man, keep a double play in order, keep the big inning from being a possibility.
It's more understandable for an outfielder to miss a cutoff man with 2 outs than with nobody out. With 2 outs, Dreesen wouldn't have been concerned with the line drive, probably would have scored, and you're taking a legitimate shot at getting him at home. So an outfielder like the base runner has to take into account how many outs there are.
1-2 pitch. A little chopper to the right side. It's going to score a run, and the flip back to Straker. Too late. Everybody's safe. So the Cards lead and have runners at first and third and nobody out.
We talked about the veteran John Tudor not pitching that well, and the rookie Les Straker makes a rookie mistake, something that shouldn't happen. He should go directly to first. He doesn't. Hesitates, and Pendleton with the rib still beats him. Very simple, something you work on every day in spring training.
Yeah, there are 2 ways a pitcher covers the bag, and one way is to act like a first baseman. And that should have been the time that Straker gets to the bag and then stretches even like a first baseman.
What you try to do, you try to gauge how fast the runner is. And when you do, and Pendleton can run, you get to first base as quickly as you can. Take the most direct route.
Tom Kelly now goes to the mound. The lefty Schatzeder, the righty Berenguer. It scored as an infield single for Pendleton. And so the Twins, after squandering opportunities in the second and in the third, and with the game tied, see the Cardinals get a run here in the third inning to take the lead and the makings of a big inning, and he's going to go to the bullpen. And the call goes out for Dan Schatzeder, the lefty, to come in the fourth inning of Game 6. The Cards are ahead. last time the Cards were in the World Series, in Game 6, they had a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning, and then this grounder starting the inning. Orta called safe by Don Denkinger on the call at first base. The ensuing argument with Whitey Herzog to no avail, of course. That game ended with Dane Orge singling to drive in 2 to win the game, square the series, and that World Series ended with Brett Saberhagen throwing a shutout in Game 7 and Kansas City winning the series. But that's history, and now the present with the Cardinals leading and Jim Lindemann batting for Kurt Ford with Schatzeder working. 3-2, Cardinals on top, still nobody out in the inning with McGee at third and Pendleton at first. And Jim Lindemann with Ford on the bench now. The left-hand batter seated as Schatzeder comes in to face Lindemann. Off the hands and a little pop-up, and Gaetti is there with Gagne, and it's Gaetti making the catch, and the runners hold as Gary runs the ball back into the infield. A big out. A real big out.
And where did he go? Right where Jim said. About belt high, look about 4 or 5 inches off the plate. Of course, that's the key to getting ahead. If you get ahead, you have an option. McGee tags. Gaetti knows he's going to catch it, and then runs it back into the infield.
So now Oquendo comes up. Remember, Oquendo, a switch hitter. He hit .277 right-handed. He hit .294 left-handed. One little oddity, though, despite fewer at-bats right-handed, he hit into 4 double plays from this side and only 2 the other way. And the infield a double play depth. And there's always the possibility of the squeeze. Oquendo takes a strike. Another thing about Oquendo, we mentioned he's prone to hit into more double plays this way, but on the other side of that same coin, he hit 4 sacrifice flies this year, all of them right-handed.
And the 2 home runs are from the right side, so the chance of hitting a fly ball are better, and he's looking for a pitch up in the strike zone.
And he hits a high fly ball to right field, and McGee tags. Brunansky on the run, makes the catch, and Brunansky with an off-balance throw way off the mark, and the Cardinals get another run, and down to second goes Pendleton. So Oquendo, who hit all 4 of his sac flies right-handed, hits 1 here, and the Cardinals are on top by 2. And a tough play for Brunansky because he's going the other way. It would have been a much easier play for a left-handed thrower.
Oh, with 2 out, well, 2 outs, he's going to catch that ball because it's fair, but right now he does not know. I mean, he has to know that he doesn't have a play, and by trying to desperately throw the runner out, he allows another runner to go into scoring position, Terry Pendleton, and just gives the Cardinals another chance to add a run.
You remember Game 3 of the American League Championship Series? Brunansky had a similar play, but he was set down the right field line, and Tony Kubek and Bob Costas properly alluded to the fact that Brunansky could have been in foul territory. However, the replay did show that he was in fair territory.
The ball just kept drifting. He was going to try and get an angle to throw home, which was impossible because he came so far from right center field. But again, what do? A split-second decision, and maybe Brunansky never even thought of it. But right there, it may have been fair, Bob. It's difficult to tell unless you're shooting right down the line. And you take the shirt out when you can get it. If he knows it's definitely foul, he'd have to make a decision and maybe let it go because it was too deep. He makes a decision because it's right on the line if he even thought about it. Good call by you, Bob.
Tony Pena now looks at a strike on the outer half, 0-1. 4-2 St. Louis in the 4th inning. 2 down. Pendleton at second. Going to third on a pitch inside, and the throw not in time. Terry Pendleton. Terry Pendleton, he of the pulled muscle, legs out a hit, steals a base, and has already scored a run.
The last time he was on second base, the count 3-2, Oquendo the batter, and he was running on that play. So I really think he's trying to deliver a message to Whitey Herzog. If this game goes to 7, he's starting tomorrow. Maybe.
2-2 missing, and Pena goes to first. The board had it 2-2. Pena is now being called back. He thought it was ball 4. It's only ball 3. he enjoys a laugh with Terry Taylor. Do you know the other night, do you remember when Pena looked like he was hurt in Game 5? He was at first base, he reached first base, and he reached for his hamstring, and he was flexing his foot. He wasn't hurt at all. He was trying to decoy the Twins into thinking he was hurt. He really wanted to steal on the next pitch. What he decoyed was Whitey. Whitey took him out for a pinch runner.
Lance Johnson, who went in and stole second.
How great was that? Check swing, ball 4. No swing, says Dave Phillips. And so the Cardinals get Coleman to the plate. Runners at first and third, 2 down, and Vince 0 for 2.
Well, another run on third base. You don't want to give him a pitch that you've already seen that he had good swings at, and that's the fastball, so you hook him. But it turns out to be ball 4.
Very close. I think Dave Phillips made the right call. He called it quickly. And that way there's no argument. Right or wrong, at least you're quick about it.
Coleman hitting right-handed for the first time today. He hit .268 right-handed this year. And there he is in postseason this year. And what a swing.
Both he and Ozzie Smith are hitless right-handed in the World Series.
1-2 to Coleman. High drive to center field. Puckett going all the way back to the track and makes the catch. But they get 2 to the Cards to lead by 2 after 3 and a half. I asked Whitey Herzog before the game if he'd be inclined to remove Tudor earlier today because he was working on 3 days rest.
No, Al, actually, he's worked so many times in his life with 3 days rest. In '85, I think his record was 18-1 on 3 days rest, and going into the 7th game of the World Series. And the thing with John is sometimes he has a lot better control coming back with 3 days. I would probably go get him today if he got up to around 100 pitches in the 7th inning, and I had Don Baylor or somebody coming up there. I'd probably go to Worrell. If it was Herbeck, I'd probably go to Daly and go with my power pitchers. But I'm just shooting dice a little bit. I feel that if they win this ball game today, and I save Tudor for the 7th game, that would be very tough for us to beat them. I think the momentum would switch. They would feel they definitely got an advantage. So I'm trying to take advantage of what we got going for us by pitching Tudor today.
And so far, Tudor has given him the lead, though he's been very shaky through 3, and the Twins have squandered a couple of golden opportunities to score. 4-2 St. Louis, bottom of the 4th inning. Laudner, Lombardozzi, and Gladden. And Jim Lindemann stays in the game in right field for St. Louis. High fly ball to center. McGee there looking up, and remember, nothing's routine. 1 away. Steve Lombardozzi is the batter. A reminder, those of you on the West Coast in the Pacific time zone, coming up following the World Series, the California Golden Bears and the UCLA Bruins. Lombardozzi singled in the 2nd inning. That's grounded and hits third base. It's a fair ball. Coleman will chase it down, and Lombardozzi has a double.
Once again, control is so more important. He gets the ball inside, and Lombardozzi's 2nd hit wraps it down the line. Kicks off the bag, and Coleman still's not going to get to it. Lombardozzi with pretty good speed. They've had more pitches to hit tonight than they did in 7 innings. Talking about good pitches off Tudor, mainly because he's just not that sharp. And they've adjusted, as you said, Tim.
Dan Gladden now with the infield outside of Oquendo playing back. And he hits it in the air to deep left center field. Coleman and McGee converge, and McGee makes the play. They avoid the collision, and Lombardozzi has to remain at 2nd. And that is really tough with the ceiling and the noise, and knowing you get the 2 speedsters on a collision course.
I'll tell you, you get the feeling that if the Cardinals lose this game, faulty outfield play could have something to do with it. The Herbeck ball back in the 2nd inning, the error on McGee, and now Coleman and McGee almost colliding, avoiding serious injury.
Well, getting back to what I said, they cannot look at each other, because if they do, you lose the ball here, and that's different. An outfielder will tell you, once you see the ball, they know where it's going to come down. They look at each other to see if somebody's going to run them off. That's not the case here.
That ball almost rolled into Coleman's glove. It was that close. Gagne swinging and missing, 0-1.
You're also making that point, Jim, that you got to play the outfield differently in this ballpark, and it's tough to change old habits.
Well, that's why they say they didn't think that the background would bother them, the lights would bother them, but they did think the style of the way you play the fly ball would, and it's bothered everybody that's come in here.
Remember, we showed you this earlier, this look at Rick Stelmasic hitting a fungo, and how difficult it is to see the ball coming out of the roof.
You watch it, you see it going up for a while. And now where is it?
Little speck. And this is grounded down to short and scooped up by Smith, and he takes care of Gagne. So the Twins leave another in the fourth, 4-2 St. Louis, and we'll be back after this word from your local station.
Success Stories, brought to you by Citicorp.
Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey knew that it would take someone of extraordinary character to survive the pressure of becoming the first black man to play in the major leagues. Such a man was Jackie Robinson. Having established himself as a superior athlete at UCLA, Robinson's fiery play as a Dodger helped him succeed in leading his team in a 6 World Series in his 10-year career, and in opening doors of opportunity to talented black athletes for generations to come.
And between innings, Terry Pendleton trying to convince Whitey he's just fine, and he looks to be fine on the base pass. You never know the difference, the way Pendleton has run today. So we go to the 5th. Al Michaels along with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver. Smith the batter, and the count 1-0. 4-2 St. Louis. Smith, Herr, and Dreesen with Schatzeder working. 1-1. The Twins winning the first 2 at home and then losing 3 in St. Louis. And the Cardinals trying to do what they did to the Dodgers after they lost the first 2 in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Laudner got a late start on this one and comes back and runs out of room. Schatzeder, by the way, is the only pitcher, and this is quite a distinction. Ozzie Smith, who has very few home runs in his big league career, has hit 2 of them off Schatzeder.
I believe only 6 lifetime. But it's very important for Schatzeder to pitch well, very much what he did in the 4th game when they came back from that 5-0 deficit. And he matches up so well with the Cardinals' running attack.
2-2 the count.
They're not going to run on him, but there is not a right-hander in the Twins bullpen that they will not run on if they get on base. The appropriate runners, of course.
Tom Kelly, very much the symbol of this copacetic ball club. 3-2 the count. Kelly, I think more than almost any other manager today, or at least as much, symbolizes the whole mood and the feeling of his ball club. Smith fouls it away. I was talking with Peter Gammons of Sports Illustrated and some of the media people who've covered series for years and years, and talking about the Twins as a group. And I know it sounds trite, but a real good bunch of guys, nice bunch of guys, easy to deal with, mild and mellow of sorts, as Ozzie Smith draws the walk and Tommy Herr comes to the plate. And yet the other day, after the Twins start the World Series by winning the first 2 games here, we pick up the Minneapolis Star-Tribune on Monday. The subhead says winning angry. The headline says snarling, ball-pounding Twins win. Angry? Snarling? Who, the headline writer? The managing editor?
Certainly doesn't fit the players.
Boy.
I think what it did fit was the 10 and 8 runs they put on the board. That's about it, though.
Yeah, but it makes it seem as if this is a team of oafs and louts. Tommy Herr, 0-1 the count. And that's grounded down to Gagne, and he has one play first base and gets the out there, and Ozzie Smith advances. So with 1 down, Smith at second. And Danny Dreesen will come to the plate, having grounded out and doubled.
It's almost like a sacrifice. You start Smith, Herr gets his bat on the ball. Gagne only has one play, makes a nice play off his front foot, but you got a guy in scoring position to add to your lead, which is already 4-2.
Now Pagnazzi, Tom Pagnazzi, the rookie, who can catch and in the World Series DH, and that's what he did in Game 1. The right-hand batting Pagnazzi will come up here to bat for the left-hand hitting Dreesen. High in the air to Brunansky. Tom fades on it, has room, makes the catch. Smith tags at second and moves into third as the throw is cut off by Lombardozzi. So 2 down now. Pagnozzi flying to Brunansky, and Willie McGee will come up right-handed.
All of those are plausible moves, but boy, do you hurt your club defensively.
Yeah,
you really weaken yourself in 3 positions.
Yeah, we really don't know what what Whitey is going to do as far as Pena is concerned, but that would be the key. If you ever take your starting catcher out of there, you're really weakening yourself defensively, especially if your pitcher's doing well. And Tudor is doing well with the stuff he has.
And McGee hits one into right field for a base hit to score another run as Ozzie touches the plate, and the Cardinals now lead by a score of 5-2. So the walk to Smith comes back to hurt Schatzeder, and St. Louis leads by 3.
And such smart hitting. He sat on deck, on the bench, saw the curveballs, looks for one, hits it to right field, doesn't try to pull it. He saw Tommy Herr do that. He saw Pagnazzi fly out to right field on the curveball, saw the pattern of Schatzeder, and then just spanked it to right. I mean, not only did he hit well, he was smart enough to look for the pitch that he's been throwing.
Now here's Pendleton batting lefty against lefty. He wants to keep, does Herzog, Pendleton in the game, so Terry cannot hit right-handed. We know that. He wants to keep him in the game. Think about down the line. He'll waste this at-bat here if he has to keep him available for Reardon or Berenguer. So he sends him up lefty against lefty. And you wonder the last time that Pendleton faced a lefty left-handed.
Probably in Little League ball or something like that.
I would think. 1-1. Certainly, I can't imagine this having happened in the majors or even the minors unless there was some extraordinary circumstance. In any event, it's something that Terry has not seen very often. 2-1. That's a strike, and the count 2-2. McGee goes, and Pendleton strikes out. But in the inning, the Cardinals get an insurance run and lead 5-2 and 4.5.
For the Minnesota.
Come on, guys!
Now
go!
First baseman.
Some of the best seats in the house are now available for single game advance sale. But people are picking them off fast. Pretty soon, the seats you want for the Twins games you want may be gone. So come to the Dome's ticket office or call now and pick them off first. Pick them off now while the picking's good.
How about a little bingo?
World Series memory, R. Jackson, number 44 in 1977. And you'll recall this, one of 3 home runs, leading the Yankees to the world title. And our man Reg Giroux is here, and we'll be visiting with Reggie on our after the game portion. John Morris comes into to play right field. Jim Lindemann now playing first base, and with Morris now in the game, every eligible player has gotten into the World Series. He's the 48th. Morris in right. Bottom of the 5th inning, and Puckett starts things with a base hit into center field. He's 3 for 3.
Well, Rick Rennick, the hitting instructor, third base coach, said when he gets hot, he gets hot. Now look where this ball is. It's down, it's away, and it's a line drive into center. And 3 for 3. So you make a good pitch, and didn't turn out too good for John Tudor.
As a matter of fact, he's hit 3 good pitches, 2 change-ups away, and the fastball at the letters tight.
Gary Gaetti. Kirby had 4 hits in the first 5 games. He's got 3 today. John Tudor with a 3-run lead. Gets it on the black of the plate on the outside 0-1. Juan Berenguer coming in from the pen. And it's 1-1.
The Twins have their players in the game. They're trying to get the crowd back into the game, because the crowd here can obviously be so affected when they gear it up. They haven't really yet since the 2nd inning.
Gaetti, as you saw, 2 for 11 career and 0 for 5 in the series against Tudor. And he hits this one down into the left field corner for extra bases. Coleman has it skip away, and then he falls down. Puckett will come in to score on a double. It's 5-3.
Good pitch to hit middle of the plate, and Gaetti, as we said, 31 home runs. Likes to get his arms extended and does. You see Vince Coleman fall, so Puckett's going to score. But to me, the important thing about this play, it's a sure double. Coleman doesn't overreact. He does not throw behind the runner and allow Gaetti to go to third base.
Mike Rourke goes to the mound, and Rick Horton throws in the bullpen. And also Bob Forsch up as well, the right-hander.
And I believe he's talking about the bullpen to get into action right there. Didn't take long. John is struggling with his control, and the result is some line drives.
Forsch the righty, Horton the lefty. And then when they get deeper into the game, it's Staley and Worrell, as you know. Fifth inning, 5-3 Cards. Baylor the tying run at the plate with Gaetti at second. To deep left field, and that one is gone. Brunansky hits it in the left for a base hit. Forget the decimal meter, get the Richter scale.
Don Baylor's first home run as a Twin. As that graphic showed you, the last one a grand slammer in Boston off Steve Carlton. quite as big as this one. A straight changeup, too much of the plate.
No doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
332nd lifetime.
Horton in, Tudor out. To deep left field, and that one is gone. Rick Horton is on to work. He has not pitched since last Saturday, game 1, when he worked the final 2 innings in a mop-up role. Here he is with the game tied, 5-5. The Twins with 4 consecutive hits on 6 pitches. Ken Herbeck now with Brunansky at first base and nobody out. John Tudor as he departed.
There's nothing like reversing the momentum by having a bad inning when your team has just scored a run to go ahead 5-2, and that's what John was really what's able to do, but that's what he did. And Ricky Horton's asked to put a finger in the dike.
Go ahead run at first base. Brunansky, nobody out in the bottom of the 5th inning. To center field to a deep McGee, but he comes in and makes the play. 1 gone, and Laudner, the batter, as Brunansky retreats. The last huge home run that Baylor hit would be a year ago in the American League Championship Series, with the Angels leading 3-1 and leading in the 5th game 5-2 at Anaheim. You'll recall that Baylor came up and hit a 2-run homer to make it 5-4, and then with 2 out and 2 strikes, it was Dave Henderson hitting the home run. Red Sox went on to win the game and the next 2 and the pennant. 0-1 to count on Laudner.
And very similar, that it was a high curveball off Witt that he went out off the plate and yanked it into the left field stands. This was a change that maybe not off the plate, but it's a pitch that a normal hitter may single on. Baylor, as we said, well over 300 home runs, whacked it into the left field seats to tie up this game.
Runner goes, and it's a comebacker to Horton, and he looks at second, then goes to first for the out. 2 down. And it will bring up Lombardozzi. Tudor's reaction following Baylor's home run. Here's Lombardozzi. Crowd trying to coax in the go-ahead run. Line drive, base hit into center field. Here comes McGee. Here comes Brunansky. Here comes the throw. He's safe.
Hit number 3 for Lombardozzi in the series. Or tonight, I beg your pardon. Batting .273, that should send him over 300, but more importantly, it gives the Twins the first lead they've had in 2 games, and the momentum of Brunansky actually went through the left leg of Pena. Tony reaching to his right, that took the weight off of his left leg. Consequently, that gave Brunansky, see the lean to the right? That takes the weight off the left leg, and Brunansky is safe. Pena actually should be out in front of the plate as opposed to on the plate. If you're going to block the plate, you can't be on it. You got to be out in front of it. Hard slide by Brunansky.
Herzog put up a mild protest. Terry Tatum made the call. Slice foul, 0-2. Take another look now.
Here Lombardozzi went up with Reniak, batting coach in Boston. Hitting instruction, McGee does not make a good throw. You can see Tony have to go to his right, as Timmy said. When he gets back, Brunansky's already across the plate.
See, actually, Tony set up properly, expecting the throw slightly to the left of home plate, and then the throw was slightly to the right of home plate, and that's why Brunansky scored.
1-2 on Gladden.
Catchers are trained to keep the left leg, the weight on the left leg. It's the toughest play on a throw from right field. The next toughest play is on the throw from center because the runner comes in blindly. The easiest play is on the throw coming from left field.
Soft little looper to Smith, and that's that. But 8 men come to the plate. They get 4. The place erupts. It's 6-5 Twins.
Pena sets up properly, but watch what the throw does to him. It takes him out of his position to the right of home plate, and that allows Brunansky to bull through that left leg. Had he had the weight on the left leg, that wouldn't have happened. You ward him off.
Another view, and you can see Terry Tater right there, the umpire, to make the call. Brunansky gets his knee as Pena tags him. I think that's what Whitey came out and argue about. Did he get to the plate before he tagged him? Tater said yes. End of story.
Now here's Berenguer into work with Lindemann batting. The Cardinal lineup right now, recall with the 2 switches. Lindemann is in the 7 spot. Morris is in the game. He's in the 4 spot with Berenguer working. They've already spent Ford, and they've already spent Dreesen, and they've already spent Pagnazzi from the bench.
And that is the key as far as I'm concerned. And the Cardinals, Juan Berenguer pitching well. He's come in, he throws well over 90 miles per hour, but they saw him pitch last year with San Francisco. They all know he throws 90 miles per hour, but they all say you'll get a good fastball to hit every time. He did not get his breaking ball over the other night.
Lindemann hits a ground ball to second. Bardozzi throws him out.
So he comes in with 2 sliders and then a forkball. And this is not the Berenguer that we saw the other night with the 1-0 lead in the 3rd ball game that came in and gave up 3 runs, almost all on high breaking balls or fastballs when he got behind in the count.
Oquendo now. What Kelly is thinking is, hey, Juan, get me to the 8th. Get me to the 8th inning.
Well, they got the tune-up with Jeff Reardon, their stopper, in Game 5. Even though they were behind, he pitched very well as he did all year, at least the last 3 quarters of the year after struggling early. So you're right, that's what he needs, a couple of innings.
2-0. That's grounded down to short on a forkball, and there are 2 down, 2 away here in the 6th inning. Pena coming up.
What a view from behind the plate. A 3-2 forkball. You can see it plummet and tumble. Oquendo hits the top half of it. Ground ball to shortstop.
I just figured out a way to make $1 million. We'll go out and get the exclusive on a throat lozenge concession in Minneapolis. Whew. This crowd is unbelievable. Pena with 2 out. Takes a strike.
Well, it's such an obvious difference when you play in your home park. You get down 5-2 and you're in St. Louis, there's no noise. You're down 5-2 here, at least you have somebody cheering, giving you a little bit of momentum, so to speak.
And that's grounded toward the middle. Good stop by Gagne, guns him down. And at the end of 5.5 in Game 6, it's Minnesota 6, St. Louis 5. You know, we're only in the 6th inning here, but assume the Twins win and we go to a 7th game. Minnesota has Viola. St. Louis has McGrain. Cox on 2 days rest. What do you think?
Big advantage Twins. That's what I say.
Definitely. I think Viola learned a lot from the last start. And McGrain, I mean, you'd like to think at 23, intelligent young man, but I got to give the edge to anybody that has to comes in here. He does not have any advantage at all because who knows what the Cardinal pitchers are going to do. They have not pitched well here.
Rick Horton on in relief. He faces Greg Gagne in the bottom of the 6th inning. Gagne, Puckett, and Gaetti. Let's watch Gagne in the top of the 6th.
Footwork is so important to a middle infielder in particular. Watch the feet of Gagne. Trust me, it's important.
We believe you.
The positioning of the rearranging of the position of the feet, very, very important. That allows middle infielders to get off the strong throws that you see. A lot of times you see the results, you don't know how they started.
Strike to Gagne, 2-1. Little chopper off the plate. Going to be tough for Ozzie. Leaps, throws. No, not even Ozzie.
How'd he do that?
I don't know. Normally if there's a will, there's a way, but there was the will, and you'll see it right here. We always refer to him as an acrobat, and then again, but Gagne with good speed and the high hop base hit. Pretty good 3-1 pitch down in the strike zone, and I guess being from Baltimore, we can call this the Baltimore chop, and it was. But watch this, it's just amazing.
I'll tell you, if you folks don't think this is a difficult play, try it. Write it down.
And then go
catch the ball and throw it before you land.
And then go right to your chiropractor. Here comes Forsch. Here is Bob Forsch on in relief. He's appeared in 2 games, and he was the winning pitcher with a lot of help from his friends the other night. Some defensive gems behind him.
Well, that and his control is very erratic. I talked to him. He said, I have no idea. Of those 33 games, he started 30 of them. As you said, Al, he did get the win, but great defense by a double play by Ozzie Smith twice and a line drive out to left field that Coleman made a great play on. And for him to be effective, he has to have good control. Great signs here.
Fella right behind home plate. I'm telling you, he has got a sign ready for every occasion.
Let's get the inside pitch on longtime Cardinal Bob Forsch.
Pitcher. He knows how to pitch. He mixes his pitches well. He throws a fastball, curveball, slider, and straight change, and he doesn't give in to the hitter. He's always around the plate, and he's tough to steal on. He's real quick going to the plate, which is going to make it tough for Twins runners to try to steal a base.
I think the key to Tony's report, and again, Tony and Paul have been right on with their reports throughout the series. I think the key is that he doesn't give in to the hitter. And that was our point the other night. He tries to get ahead of you and then gets you out with pitches off the plate.
Kirby Puckett, who was 4 for 20 in the first 5 games. But today, 3 for 3. He has scored twice, he has driven in a run, and he has stolen a base. Forsch with Gagne at first base and nobody out. 0-1.
As we said, when he gets hot, he gets torrid. 6 hits, 6 for 6 in Milwaukee, and then 4 hits the next night. 10 hits in 2 games. Tony Oliva said it doesn't matter what you throw up there. Breaking ball, fastball in, fastball away, change-ups will get his hits. That's how you hit 332.
2-0.
Tell you, it didn't matter what you threw to Tony Oliva either, did it, Jim?
No, 3 batting championships. Amazing hitter and hit the ball where he's pitched. So he's very much like Kirby Puckett. 1 year, over 30 home runs for Tony Oliva.
Tony won his 2nd batting title in 1965, the last time the Twins were in the World Series.
And the only time the Twins were in the World Series prior to this. 3-0 is ball 4, first and second. Mike Rourke. He's sending Pagnazzi, who was out of the game, of course. He was a pinch hitter, but is still working as the bullpen catcher. Lee Tunnell is already down in the pen, and they're going to get Daly up as well, the lefty.
You're almost looking 4 hitters down the lineup to when Herbeck comes up, but Whitey knows he cannot afford to let this game get away. Does not want to play tomorrow.
Gary Gaetti, a big 5th inning double to get the Twins rolling. 0-1. And that's off Pena's glove. So that eliminates the double play.
There he goes after this ball like he was crossed up. Usually when catchers aren't quick upstairs, it looks like, watch the mitt, right? See, it looks like he's looking for something to break into an area and then kind of made a wild stab at the fastball.
Ruled a pass ball.
It should have been.
Yep. Popped up. Smith and Herr both go out. It's Ozzie underneath it, and he has it for the first out, and a big out. One away. Now Baylor, and now they've got to think about, as you look at Baylor's home run on tape, about maybe walking Baylor to try to set up the DP with Brunansky. We'll see. Here it was in the 5th inning to tie the game.
I'll tell you, I'd pitch to him right here.
But they're not. They're going to walk him.
I mean, would you rather pitch to a regular player, a guy who plays 160 games a year, or Don Baylor, who has batted 50 times in the last 6 weeks? 50, his first home run.
I can tell you, after never throwing a grand slam in almost 4,000 innings, that I don't want to load him up. And the reason I say that is because I don't think one run is going to beat you here. I know what Whitey's saying. Let's load him up, and we'll go for the double play. And Forsch is supposed to be a sinker baller. He got that ball down to Gaetti, but he didn't. He hit a grounder. It's a big gamble. Brunansky, as you said, was played all year long.
I think I agree with you, Tim. I think I would have pitched to him because if I'm the manager, I'm afraid, or let's say Brunansky strikes out or pops out. Now I've got to go to get Daly to face Herbeck to get that 3rd out of the inning, and I'm not sure I want to use Daly in the 6th.
Yep.
Anyway, mull it over.
It's certainly not a clear choice.
No.
Plus, there's no place to put Brunansky. That makes a big difference.
He hits it in the air to shallow center field. Gagne is tagging. Smith is going out, and he makes the catch, and the throw is cut off. It was deep enough so that there was no infield fly rule in effect. And 2 down as Brunansky pops out. Now you've got Herbeck, and now you've got Herzog going out, and now you're going to have Daly coming in here. So this is what Whitey's opted for.
Well, went right after him, and that's what you do with the bases loaded. And pops it up. So that's a low fastball for a pop-up from Gaetti and a high pop fly on a high fastball from Brunansky.
So here comes Daly to try to get Herbeck with the bases loaded and 2 out in the 6th.
And right up from A-ball, Kent Herbeck of the Minnesota Twins, recipient of this week's Gillette Special. In his first Major League game, Herbeck got his first RBI against the Yankees in New York. A native of Minneapolis, the young first baseman made quite a leap from Class A ball.
My mom and dad were home, and they had a bunch of people over at their place last night watching it on TV. And yeah, I guess it was pretty exciting around Bloomington. It was pretty wild last night, especially after the 12th inning was over. So
in the 12th, Kent found himself batting with the game tied at 2-all. George Frazier delivered, and so did Herbeck. Deep to right center. Going, it's gone. How about that? A game-winning homer to beat the Yankees in his Major League debut. Now that is something to talk about.
I was going to tell the guys, at least I hit one out during batting practice, and then last night I got to call everybody and tell them I hit one out during the game, so it was pretty exciting.
Congratulations, Kent, and see you next week, folks, on This Week in Baseball.
Some pretty fascinating stuff going on here right now because Daly comes out of the bullpen, bases loaded, 2 out, to try to keep the Cardinals very much in the game to face Herbeck. He's the specialist. He normally comes in later than this, but Herzog, in a way, maybe feeling the game is partially on the line here. He's got to get out of this inning and stay within 1, so he's got to go to Daly early.
Yeah, game situations can come in the 1st inning, the 5th inning, or the 9th inning, and this is a game situation.
So Daly, the 4th Cardinal pitcher. They have Tunnel, a righty in the bullpen. Bases loaded, 2 out, bottom of the 6th. Twins lead by 1. And Herbeck hits a high drive to deep center field. McGee goes back, grand slam! Herr throws out Laudner. End of 6, 10-5 Minnesota. Back after this from your local station. And Herbeck hits a high drive to deep center field. McGee goes back. Grand slam! Another World Series record tied. Yogi Berra and Moose Skowron in 56 hit 2. Gladden did it in game 1. Here's Herbeck with natural sound hitting it out.
Can one swing erase? Makes you forget not running that double out or getting picked off second, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It really does. That's right.
7th inning. Coleman, the top of the order, takes a strike. 0-1. One pitch from Daly. 10-5. Minnesota in the 7th inning. Berenguer now throws another strike. 0-2.
Well, you never like to give up a home run, a key base hit, and that certainly was one. But I'll tell you what, Daly came in with his best, and Herbeck was better. Went with his #1 fastball.
1 out. Ken Daly. Some days you do, and some days you don't.
I'll tell you, it's a lot better than making a bad pitch and having hit it. He just went right after him and hit it over the center field fence.
Mr. Herzog. And thinking a little bit about tomorrow, even though the Cardinals still have 8 outs to go. 1-0 on Ozzie Smith. And he hits it into right field off the hands for a base hit. First hit of the game for Smith. And the first hit off Berenguer. And Tommy Herr is the batter. Herr 1 for 3. Darryl Strawberry was the last left-handed batter to homer off Ken Daly 2 years ago.
And that was an 11-inning 1-0 ball game. And it was a high curveball. And Ken Herbeck hits the 14th Grand Slam in World Series history.
Tommy Herr tries to bunt his way on. Strike. 0-1.
And also the first hit for Herbeck against left-handers in the World Series. He's now 1 for 17, but oh, what a one.
2-1 pitch is grounded to the right side, and that's a base hit. Ozzie Smith will hold at second. And so the Cardinals are very much still alive and kicking. 2 on with 1 out, and John Morris is the batter, and it's the first time that he has come up in the World Series. He's the last of the 48 of the 2 clubs to get in. Morris, we mentioned it the other night, grew up on Long Island in Belmore and knew a couple of the twins, Frank Viola, and he knew Gene Larkin. He met Gene Larkin when they were in the 4th, 5th grade.
Gene Larkin's birthday today, as a matter of fact. He's 25 years old.
Morris takes inside, ball 1. Now with Whitey having made the moves before, Morris comes up here hitting out of the cleanup spot. A spot in which Dreesen started, then Pagnazzi hit for him, and now Morris in the 4 slot with McGee on deck. Breaks his bat, 1 hopper. Lombardozzi to Gagne, to Herbeck, double play. At the end of 6½, 10-5 Twins.
IBM presents You Make the Call.
With a runner on first and one out, a batter hits what appears to be a routine double play ball. But the runner from first goes out of his way to upend the fielder. Can he do this? You make the call. A runner cannot go out of his way to break up a double play. If he does, not only is he out, but the batter is too. So if you said the runner couldn't do that, then you made the right call.
The only other World Series in which the Twins played Game 6, the 6th inning, Howie Reed on the mound. Mudcat Grant hits a 3-run homer to give the Twins a 5-0 edge. And I've got an interesting story once this inning begins. I guess I could complete it right now. Mudcat Grant's mother's name is Viola. And he will be the starting pitcher tomorrow night if the Twins win this evening.
Like it. Meanwhile, Lee Tunnell comes in for St. Louis to face Steve Lombardozzi. Now here's what Whitey's managing both games right now. He's managing this one and he's managing tomorrow night's game. He had Daly in the game, but he has to get Daly out down by 5. He's going to need Daly tomorrow night. So he's got to go to Tunnell right now to make sure Daly is fresh tomorrow. And it's hit in the air to right and right to Morris. One gone. First time they've gotten the man they call Lombo today.
Well, it goes back to the point you made 2 innings ago when you walk Baylor to load up the bases, you get Bernansky to pop up, but you, as a manager, make yourself bring in Daly. Now, I'm not second-guessing that because I know Whitey would do the same thing tomorrow, and the result might be different. But what you do is make you bring Daly in earlier, and now we see Tunnell because you are managing for tomorrow.
Well, the great thing, one of the great things about this game is you mow over all this stuff. There's no black and white answer. If there was a black and white answer to everything, it wouldn't be half the fun it is.
Wouldn't have the charm that it does.
I'll tell you what is black and white. 10, 8, and 10 runs for the Twins when they play here in 5 and 3 games in Busch Stadium.
That's driven to right, and Morris is there fading on it. 2 down, and Gagne will be the batter. A reminder, they're coming up on Monday night. The regulars are back. And Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern Time will feature the Los Angeles Rams against the Cleveland Browns. Rams trying to get healthy. And also, if we go to a 7th game of the World Series, they're going to play the Bronco-Viking game on Monday night, and we'll have coverage of that in selected areas for you. 1-0 the count on Gagne.
Tunnell pitched in the second game. Pitched fairly well. He hit the looper to Gagne to really kind of bury them, but then other than that, the home run to Laudner over the center field fence.
Tommy Herr with a nice backhand stop and throw, and that's that. As they get Gagne, and Tunnell has a 1-2-3 inning. On to the 8th, 10-5 Twins. Eighth inning in the Rockin' Dome. Well, Elvis will be leaving the building shortly. Letterman calls up, gets me on the phone, and he's got some selected home run calls he wanted to hear. That was one of them. Instead of, it's gone or she's out of here, we're supposed to say when a ball leaves, Elvis will be leaving the building shortly, or Elvis has left the building. Well, Elvis left the building when Herbeck cranked one into the seats. No question about that. McGee starts the 8th inning. McGee and then Pendleton to follow. And Juan Berenguer trying to wrap this one up. Herbeck. 1 out. Pendleton coming up.
Yeah, you asked any reliever and they want to come in to start the inning if they have a choice. Now, obviously they don't on many occasions.
We mentioned Viola definitely tomorrow. Look, what Whitey said before the game was this. He said, I'm thinking about McGrain, who pitched in game 1. The other day he had mentioned Cox on 2 days rest, but he said, I'm thinking about McGrain. I'm going to talk to Cox. So it will be one of the two. If it's Cox, he's going on 2 days rest as Pendleton hurts himself on that swing. You can tell that Terry is in a little bit of agony. Remember, he's got that rib damage. Line to right field deep. Bernansky goes back and plays it off the trash bag and holds him to a single. Tom Brunansky owns the canvas out there. And, well, he should. He's been playing here since the ballpark opened.
Pendleton said he likes to look for a fastball off of Berenguer, and this is what it comes down to. He gets one and then just smashes it to right. But down by 5 runs, and having seen Brunansky play the trash bag out there, you stay right at first. It's like really Yaz playing the left field wall. People that are really adept playing a certain ballpark.
Lindemann, 1-0. There's Reardon now, beginning to throw in the pen. I know one thing about Brunansky. If he ever takes a highlight, I want him and Mike Quinella. 2-0 the count.
You imagine someone trying to pick up the game. They've heard all these terms, and now finally you hear about an outfielder playing the trash bag.
Yeah, there it is.
Make you want to give up the game of baseball. I've heard everything.
In the air to shallow right. Brunansky calls Lombardozzi off and makes the play. 2 down.
Much more impressive to be 0-16 than 1-15.
Bob Miller of the original New York Mets won a game on the last day of the season to make his record 1-12
right
back in 1962.
Tom Lawless got a hit on the last day of this season.
Yeah.
They get his 2nd hit of the year. Tom Lawless. And then there's Oquendo, who's 1 for 2.
It'll be interesting to see if this game does or is played tomorrow. Will Viola pitch around Lawless?
2 out. There's Tom. 0-1 the count. Pendleton goes. It's low, and they just give him second base. So Terry, despite the rib problems, has 2 steals today and was going on another pitch at one point. Hanging out a sign for Whitey. He wants to play tomorrow. In the air to center. If Newton was right, this baby will plop into the glove of Puckett. And Sir Isaac, you never fail us. At the end of 7 1/2, 10-5, Minnesota. Back in Minnesota, Al Michaels along with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver, Game 6. First 6 games of series, each won by the home team. Dodgers in 55, they went on to win. Yankees 56, they did. Dodgers 65, they did. And Pirates against Baltimore in 71, James, you were in that series?
Yes, I was. We were, well, in fact, the whole team was in the series till Steve Blass came to the mound and beat us 2-1 on the final game of the World Series that year.
At Baltimore.
Yes.
So now Puckett to start things in the bottom of the 8th inning. Gaetti and Baylor to follow. Lee Tunnell in relief. Cardinals in the 9th. As you look at Straker, who started this game for Minnesota, the Cardinals have 8, 9, and 1. Oquendo, Pena, and Coleman. Grounded through the middle. Hearn knocks it down, has no play. Carl Pohlad, the owner of the Minnesota Twins, has just watched Kirby Puckett get his 4th hit. It's an infield single, 4 for 4 plus a walk.
The ball appeared to hit the seam, and we saw the other night the ball on Ken Herbeck that Vince Coleman went to first base. The ball hit the seam to start off that inning for the Cardinals in Game 5.
Gaetti now. 1-0 the count.
That's what makes it so difficult on the turf. A lot of times you hear people say the ball does speed up. It doesn't speed up. It just doesn't slow down any. So even though you get to the ball, instead of getting it in the pocket, you get it in the heel of the glove. And as you said, when it has a regular bounce because it's hitting the seam, it makes the play even harder.
2-0. A 7th game tomorrow night at 8 Eastern time. And don't forget, We get an extra hour of sleep as we go back to standard time. So if he starts Danny Cox, the good news for Herzog is he has 2 days and 1 extra hour's rest. You'll take it where you can find it,
That's right. That's right. Timmy, I don't know about you, but the only pitcher that I ever pitched with that ever pitched on 2 days rest was Mike Cuellar, and he was more or less a little hard thrower when he first came up, but a junk baller, could change speed. So, well, Cox really is not that type of pitcher.
I don't think so, even though he doesn't rely on the fastball. Of course, the well-chronicled last 3 weeks of the 1964 season for the Philadelphia Phillies, when Jim Bunning and Chris Short, managed by Gene Mock, went on 2 days rest quite a bit. Gene's still living that down, that season down. And that is a real shame, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
What a truly terrific manager.
To center field, McGee got a late read on it, but now he gauges it. 1 down, and Don Baylor is the batter. You know, an interesting thing, Tim, that you brought up in regard to Mock, and I was thinking of his nephew, Roy Smalley of the Twins. Roy's dad played for about 11 years in the big leagues, and Uncle Gene has not gotten to a World Series. And Roy, as you take a look at Randy Bush coming up to hit for Baylor, Roy Jr. finally makes it into the series this year, so a long, long time for the Smalley clan. And Roy Jr. will be 35 tomorrow. Here's Bush. Randy takes outside, ball 1. That's grounded off the glove of Lindemann into right field, and Puckett will go to third. So Randy Bush comes off the bench to put runners at first and third with 1 out and bring up Bernansky.
Most likely will be an error, but this ball is nailed. You can see him holding the runner, talking about Jim Lindemann. Has to backhand it because he doesn't have any time to play it any other way. Right fielder, used to play third base. Pretty close down at first base.
I'll tell you what's really interesting, the fact that Randy Bush pinch hit then. Don Baylor was the right-handed hitter when the Twins were only up by 1 in the 6th inning.
Right.
Against a right-hander.
But I'll tell you why. Because all year long, everybody's talked about Tom Kelly using everybody. And I think what he wanted to do, even though Baylor with a 2-run home run, he wanted to get him another at-bat in case he has to face Cox tomorrow.
Do you think that Tom Kelly knew that Whitey Herzog would walk Baylor anyway?
Good question. That's grounded fair, knocked down by Oquendo and picked up, throws, and gets him on a wonderful play, but the Twins get another run as Puckett crosses the plate. So Bernansky grounds out but gets an RBI, 2 down, and it's 11-5.
Oh, no idea about that, but I think Baylor would have hit then as you take another look at that play. Oquendo, as Timmy said, is a great shortstop when he gets a chance to play, and you can see why. Great range, and now you see the arm, even though it's been bothering him. Not too many third basemen even get to that. Here you see the tail end of the play on the good throw and the good stretch by Lindemann.
Now they will walk Herbeck intentionally. The last time he came up, there was no place to put Herbeck on with the bases loaded. But with the opportunity here not to pitch to him and take their chances with Laudner instead, they walk him to put runners at first and second. On Bush's ball, by the way, it's ruled an error on Lindemann. And we can tell you this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball, including Ken Herbeck's household, where it might be replayed a few times through the years. Herbeck, and here it was again in the 6th. And that made the score 9-5. And right now Herbeck at first with Laudner at the plate and a half swing strike. Bush at second, Herbeck at first, 2 down in the 8th inning, 11-5 Twins. Smith to her, but the Twins get another run. It's unearned. To the 9th, 11-5 Minnesota in Game 6. You know what what I think's happening these days, the playoffs are so exciting. It takes the World Series a little time to build, and early on in this series, there didn't appear to be that much interest, and then all of a sudden, we're 3 outs away from a 7th game, and it's a very interesting series.
With the exception of the series starting here, as a matter of fact, what's a good story? It has a good beginning, middle, and end. This is going to end like it began, very noisily. Huh?
Well, I'm sure the Cards don't want that to happen.
It's going to end noisily,
oh, yes,
regardless,
noisily, yes.
regardless of whether the Twins win or lose.
9th inning, Jeff Reardon has come in. So Kelly does opt, as we suspected before, to give Reardon an inning, inasmuch as he has not been that active, and he will be fresher in Tom's mind tomorrow if needed. He faces Pena, and the count on Pena is 1-1. Pena, Coleman, and Smith in the 9th. Berenguer worked 3, meaning tomorrow night he probably could get maybe 2 innings out of him.
Well, the way he pitched in the playoffs, he might want to get the ball to start. It was 4 out of 5 games, but outstanding job, and he changed his pattern. And speaking of patterns, this guy has so many options. I really didn't have a chance, Tim, to see him pitch that much. As you look at Kirby Puck, 4 for 4 runs scored. Reg Giroux, a lot easier to score 4 runs when you hit 3 home runs. I assume it's in that ball game.
I do too. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
2-2. Goose Goslin of the Washington Senators. 1924. That's the only world championship this franchise has won. And that's hit over Gagne's head into center for a base hit. So Pena is on. A leadoff single in the 9th inning, and Vince Coleman comes up. Battling a case of the flu and 0 for 4. Vince is now 4 for 23 in the series.
I'll tell you, I know this sounds a little strange, but even if the Cardinals don't catch the Twins, they would like to see Reardon throw a lot of pitches, and to have them possibly score 3 runs. Give them something to think about. Not only doing that, do you make a battle out of it and give them a finish, but you get Reardon throwing a lot of pitches and spoil the strategy of Tom Kelly.
Broken bat, little squibber up the middle, and a nice play by Lombardozzi to cross the bag and then come back and get Pena, 4 unassisted. 1 away here in the 9th inning.
Well, such a good play. Number 1, he catches the ball, and we saw what could happen in St. Louis when the ball hits the dirt. Doesn't think about 2. Of course, Coleman's running, but gets the sure out with an 11-5 lead. That's what you want to do. Gagne backs him up just in case something happens to keep the runner from going to 3rd, but nice play.
So 1 out. And to our crew, our thanks for the job today, led by Kurt Gowdy Jr., our producer, and Craig Janoff, our director.
Not only today, but all 6 games. They've been fabulous.
Absolutely. Smith hits it in the air to right field, and Grunansky goes back to the base of the fence and has it. Second long out for Ozzie Smith, and the crowd will build. They're an out away from sending it to 7. Here's her. If you are wondering about the decibel meter we showed you earlier, that baby is broken. Herbeck's home run rendered it inoperative. Gonzo out of here. Two out of the 9th. Runner goes, and a base hit into right field with Lombardozzi going over to cover 2nd. And that was sort of odd because what they were really doing is letting Coleman have free reign. The throw wasn't going to go through anyway, and then Lombardozzi goes over, and Kelly's angry because if Lombardozzi had stayed where he should have stayed, this game would be over.
Certainly he would have had a play, and you're exactly right. With playing behind Vince Coleman, you're going to give him 2nd anyway, and that's the reason
at Kelly is upset. Watch Lombardozzi in the top of your screen. You do that out of habit, but a case can be made that the ball game's over had he stayed in his position.
Of course, I'd rather have him do it in an 11-5 game and learn from it than have it happen tomorrow night.
If it were a close game, though, they'd be holding him on.
That's true. But then there'd be a reason to cover.
Yeah, right.
0-1 the count on Morris with 2 out and 2 on in the ninth. And Minnesota leading 11-5.
And that's the most emotion we've seen from Tom Kelly. And again, that's not putting, I mean, it sounds like, or it looks like it may be putting down a second baseman, but he'll learn from it. And I'm sure he'll talk to him, and it's not going to happen again. That's what baseball is all about. Living, learning, failing, succeeding.
Runner goes, uncontested steal, and a strike. And they give Tommy Hurst second base.
It's a pretty good idea of why you need to blow out the Cardinals.
0-2. Cardinals down to their last strike. Popped up. Laudner coming over, and the Twins send it to 7. Budweiser play of the game, Ken Herbeck. Ken Daly had come in, game tied, 6th inning. Bases loaded. Let's go to Reggie with Ken Herbeck.
Thank you very much, Al Michael. With me, a couple of stars in the ball game, all three of them, Ken Herbeck. Did you feel that they had to hear from you three guys today offensively? You've been kind of quiet the World Series.
It's been the whole talk. Me and Kirby grouped through in with a big home run for us to put us one. I guess tie it up, I guess. I don't know what the heck it did. But
Four hits, 4 runs scored. Nice going.
Well, thanks, Reg. I was just trying to hit the ball up the middle today. Tudor had a change up, just trying to stay back and just stay within myself like I've been all year. And I was just glad to do it today.
Johnny Baylor, a lot of experience. Mr. Clutch again, a big home run.
Well, there's a change up down. I'm pretty sure it's a good pitch for Tudor, but in that situation, I was looking to drive in the run, and so it happened. I hit it out of the ballpark.
Minnesota Twins, you guys come home. You never say die. Let's go back up to Al Michaels.
Thank you, Reggie. So that's the story from Minneapolis. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver saying so long from the Dome, where the Twins even the series at 3 games apiece, beating the Cardinals today 11-5.